So I wanted to talk about a little bit about what we should be doing going forward, because we have a lot of people around the country have woken up, and so people are on fire politically and they want to make changes. And we see a lot of Facebook groups, Trump Facebook groups. One of the problems we have is people are kind of wasting time, or they're just like posting garbage. Like, people go in the Trump groups and they just post like, Trump is great, Trump is great. That's not doing anybody any good. I understand, like, we have a win, we got the president we want, but for us to just sit around and not move forward, other people are like, I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. So the first thing we need to do is, all of these people that are waking up and joining these like national type groups, we need everyone to separate down into states. And then what you're going to do is you're going to deal with your state. You're going to look at who is running for elections in your state. You're going to look at news going on in your state. And also, if people see things for your state from other states, they can email the representative, and perhaps you can create some sorts of actions. Like, if we see a Republican candidate in a state who's getting friendly with the left, we can email the coordinator for that state, and then that state can have a bunch of people go and tweet at this person and say, like, I live in your state, like, what are you doing, what's going on, or email them, that kind of thing. Several people contact them, and also this is, people need to know what's going on. Like, I recently saw this where Republican Collins from Maine was getting really chummy with the left, and I was like, if only I had someone in Maine that had people in Maine, and I could send this to them, and they could take care of it from there. They could, massively contact her. So that's what we need to do, because the thing is, like, my congressperson is completely a leftist, but if I tweeted her, if I tweeted her repeatedly, if I contact her repeatedly, and I'm not being supported by other right-wingers who are also contacting her, I just look like this crazy right-winger who is, I'm the only one contacting her. And if we know other people are contacting, we can feel better about contacting them. So this is why we need to organize down to states, and we need to work within our states to try to, like, nudge our, keep, if you have any Republican people, like, to try to push them into acting like Republicans, to question. One of the groups that I've started to become interested in is, it's a national group called the John Birch Society. So one of the things that they do is they get pods of people in small locations, and they try to stimulate questioning why they're into the Constitution, which, is a good thing to be into. Questioning why people who are representatives are doing things that are unconstitutional, and helping to educate their populations as to what is and isn't constitutional. So that's the kinds of things that we need to be doing. We need to be breaking back down to the state level, and then getting into local groups and prodding at our representatives, whether it be Congress people, if we can find enough people in our congressional district through this. First things first. First, we need to separate to state, and then maybe we can separate, if you get enough people in the state, start to break down according to small units within the state. So then you can have people who can kind of take that on. If you are a state representative, people ask me, well, what would be entailed? First off, you're gonna, like, collect people in your email or something into a Facebook group or into a Discord server, and you're going to, organize actions against your politicians. Your group is going to watch your politicians, and people are going to be able to contact you when they find stuff from your politicians. And also, like, just in general, any kind of events that are local events. We see people who go into national groups or state groups. I'm a moderator on a New York State for Trump group, and I deleted a bunch of posts because people are posting about, this went on, this politician in St. Louis did something, and this politician in California did something. Like, no, we can't do, if I'm in New York, if people are in New York, they can't do anything about what's going on in other areas. So we need to have all of this stuff. We need to work within our states, and then maybe if we're going to do this, maybe if everybody forms Facebook groups. The problem with existing Facebook groups is they tend to be so tainted. So they tend to be full of people who are leftists, or people who are like not living in that state, even people who are not living in the country. So in theory, we would have each state would have a group that's for that state. And the rules are, you have to have a good reason for joining that state. If you don't live in that state, you have to have a good reason. Like, I actually do belong to some California groups, because on my YouTube channel I do news. Like when Falarka acts up, I occasionally do news about her. So I did join some California groups so that I could spread the California news to California Facebook groups that I know about. But I don't post New York related stuff in those groups. And that's what we have to do. And then we should have like one national group where maybe one person from each state can join that. And locality type stuff would be posted, but then the person whose state it is would like move it back out, or we would maybe email it to the person who runs that state. I'm not sure how it should work, but what I know is we have a lot of people who are just dumping information. They're dumping like information that needs to be dealt with by people from those states. People are dumping it into national groups. So that needs to stop, because it's completely and totally unproductive. I guess people feel like, oh, I'll put it here and then it'll get out, but like it all ends up being a big mess. So we need to start to organize this. I need people to help me by volunteering to cover their state and to try to get this message out and to help try to stimulate this. Because if you look, the left generally recruits people in person. And since we're all waking up on our own separately and coming together online nationally, we're not already separated by state. And then we need to figure out how, besides keeping our politicians on their toes, how do we reach people outside of the echo chamber? Because it does no good to repeatedly post our political views to people who have the same views. Like, we're not reaching people that way. We need to figure out how to reach people. One thing I'm saying is, if you start getting together by locality, people need to get together physically in person, get off your butt, meet up with people, go out and talk to total strangers. I mean, this is like weird to do with one person, but like, if you get, say, 3 to 10 people together, you get signs, maybe make some pamphlets, and go out and like talk to people the way that people evangelize for religion. Basically try to recruit people for sensible politics. We absolutely need to have human intervention, because the left has the mainstream media on its side, and we have to counteract the mainstream media. So we have a large task ahead of ourselves. So we need to get to work. And this is how I propose we start, by separating down according to state and making state groups and hooking up with existing state groups. and looking for existing state events. So I think that's it for that. Thanks for stopping by my channel. I will see you next time.